So I just wanted to say over briefly the kashas that he asked, and just to get a quick idea of what we're talking about here. One kasha that he asked was that it says that they quoted Aristotle saying that about this murex fish or snail, it is really, that they fish it out with nets. And that fits with the Gemara. The Gemara says that they had nets, and with that they fished it out. And
Rabbi Kaplan, the Gemara, I'll just say, since you didn't mention it, in Shabbos, Ayin Daled.
Yeah. So the Gemara over there says that they fished out the chilosin, which was the fish that they made the techeles with. They fished it out with nets. And they also found in Aristotle's writings that they fish out the murex snail with nets. And Rav Reisman wasn't lazy, and he went to a library and he looked up the writings of Aristotle, and he got somebody or somehow the translator from the Greek, when he said it did not say nets, it said baskets. They fish it out with baskets. If they fish it out with baskets, so where's the Melechus kosher? And Gemara says Melechus kosher, where was it in the Mishkan, tying knots? That they tied the nets that they caught the chalosim with, they had to make knots in it. But if there was baskets, why would they have to make knots in baskets? And it comes out that it was a forgery, that Aristotle never said nets, he said baskets. Although I was thinking that maybe they tied strings to the baskets, so they did make knots. They tied strings to the basket, and they let it down into the sea to fish out the snails, and that was their kosher, maybe.
Now, apparently the divers dived down a few meters, and they put them in, they go with a basket, and they put it in the baskets.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
How do you know that's what they did? Maybe they tied...
That's what they do today.
So that means that the baskets, you don't need any knots if it was baskets. So what are they telling us? First of all, whatever you're going to say, you're going to argue, and you're going to say a dochek there, it's like what I'm saying. But what do you forge the words of Aristotle? They were Megala Bunim by Aristotle, Shalok. That he never said nets, he said baskets. What are you telling me? One kasha, I don't want to be marich too much. Second kasha was that it says that Zvulun and Shevet Zvulun, they had the chalozim in them. And then, and if you look in the Psukim in Yeshua, it says that Zvulun was not next to the Yam. He was on the other side. Only what? They sent out sailors to sail, and sailors is a umnus of being a sailor. They sent them out to fish out fish and chilozim. They says if it was in a shallow place like these snails where they need sailors for sailors, as long as you go deep into the sea, well, what do you need sailors for snails that are in a shallow place? That was the second kasha. The third kasha was, where is it? It says, the Gemara also says that Melechus Tzeda was these snails, these fish that are called chilozim. So that was the Melech of Tzeda was done. That's where you learn it out from. Well, how's it say Tzeda in a snail? A snail is something that doesn't run away. Anything that's nitzad v'homed, then you don't have to be matrich to run after it. There's no melechus tzeda on it. So that seems to be a tiyufta, not just a kasha. I mean, what are you telling me that you made dye out of a snail? That's what you're telling me. And this snail says there was Melechus Tzeda on it, and there wasn't. And the fourth kasha was that this dye that they make, you have to put it out in the sun. And when you put it out in the sun for a while, so it turns into the blue color. And the Rambam, he says a whole seder how you make the dye for techeles. The Rambam doesn't mention you put it out in the sun. The Rambam goes into all the technical details. And all of a sudden here, and this he left out. And it just won't work without putting it out in the sun. So what are they telling us? That this is the right one. So why didn't the Rambam mention it? Now, on each one of these kashas, they have what to answer. But over here, you see a posik, how he's talking. He says, paskin halacha with something that you asked a lot of kashas, and on each kasha you said a teretz. And not lav dafka strong teretz, but some kind of you wiggled your way out of the kasha somehow. And then afterwards you paskin halacha, this is it. What kind of business? That's not a way how you paskin halacha. Halacha you paskin with strong rayas, or even weak rayas. But not with many different kashas, that each kasha you have a way to answer. And what made you so, what makes you feel that's so important to have the techeles, that you have to go out of your way like this to squeeze into all this? It seems that there's a certain yetzer hara to do new things and to be different, maybe, and not to go with the way how Klal Yisrael did all the years until now. Although I would never slug up somebody. I don't think I would. Maybe in certain things I would, but I wouldn't just use that and say, oh, Klal Yisrael never did it, it must be it's the wrong thing. I think I would call that oversimplifying. Just to say, well, we never did it all these years, it must be it's the wrong thing. And that seems to be over. Now, I once gave a whole talk about that there's nothing wrong with oversimplifying, I once said. If it's true, so Lord, what do you care that you oversimplify? If it's not true, so what's it going to help that you made it complicated? It's just not true. But over here, when we're talking about something we don't know, is it, isn't it? So you're gonna approve, or you're gonna decide not to go with this, not to accept this, just because we never had. Why can't it be that it was something we never had and it was niskala now? Why can't it be? And we just found it. So is there anything wrong with starting something new? Even though we never did it. Although there was a memra that is Yodua in the world b'shem the Chassam Sofer. The Chassam Sofer said, Chodesh also min ha-Torah, new things are also min ha-Torah. So the guy, I saw the Lubavitcher Rebbe said to somebody, if new things are also, so why do you read newspapers? It's also a new thing. More than 100 years ago, 150 years ago, maybe there was no such thing as newspapers, so why do you read that? If Chodesh is also min ha-Torah, new thing. The answer is because then they didn't have it, but now we have it, so now we use it. So we want to know what's going on, so you read a newspaper. And same thing is over here, so maybe just now you found it. Yeah, I mean, but when do you say that?
Rabbi Kaplan, speak a little louder, please.
When say this rule that Chodesh is also min Torah. That's in something that seems to be going a little bit off the derech of Yiddishkeit. Like, let's say, I don't know, Rahman al-Islam, what they did, they brought a organ into the shuls. It's not something that Yidden did. So they found they had to, you bring a goy to play the organ. But Yidden never did that. The same thing is to translate the Siddur into German, the reforms. They started that, you could daven b'chol loshen. But Yidden never did it, so that's called Chodesh Osher Min HaTorah. But over here, you're just doing, Yidden did wear tzitzis all the years, you're just adding a color to the chutim. I wouldn't just decide just on that basis that they never did it. I wouldn't use that to passel it. But these kashas that Rav Reisman has, they're very strong kashas. And I was very impressed at the way he asked the kashas. He was not mezalzo in those people, and he didn't put them down. And he didn't say, I'm smarter than everybody else, and I have all the answers, and I can solve all the problems. He didn't talk like that at all. He was actually talking, Talmid Hadon Bekarka Lifnei Rabo, like the Lashon HaGemara. That's how he talked. He said that he read over the answers that they sent him, and they didn't answer him. That's very suspicious. Anyway, Hashem should help us that we should go in His derech, do the Ratzon Hashem. And we should just try to do our tafkid in the world. And Bahamas, it might even be the wrong thing to talk about what they do and are they wrong or they right. Good. Rav Reisman is a Adam Godel, and he gives shiurim on many subjects. So he gave a shiur on this also. But what are we doing talking about just because we want to talk against people? That's why we're talking about it. Maybe we shouldn't talk about it. On the other hand, you have to know there is such a tofa, and it is a good idea to know something about it. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying this over. I said my grandson, which is only 7 years old, he got an idea in his head that he wants to wear tzitzis with techeles. My son, the father of this child, he asked him which techeles they worn. He wanted the murex. Where did he get this idea? I don't know. He got the idea of techeles because the father was talking about techeles at the Shabbos table. He was talking about. Could be it was Parshas Shlach where there's in the Parshas Tzitzis. So he got the idea, but he said he wants dafka the murex. He doesn't want. I said no. If you want to wear techeles, you wear the Radziner's techeles. Why? I don't know what's the hemet. Maybe the Radziner is wrong. Although he was a Gon Olam, and you see in this Sefer a tremendous gaonus in his Sefer on techeles in all his form. But when you go to the next world, they'll ask you, what did you do such a thing for? What did you have to wear techeles for? So what are you going to say? I was imitating them. I was doing what they did. Like this, you'll say, I'm doing what the Holy Radziner Rebbe said.
You're going to say you're doing what Hello, Rabbi Kaplan.
So, let you in to the Heichel of the Radziner. So I'm saying that's a good place to be, I would say. It's in the Heichel of the Radziner. Good, Hashem should help us. We should always be nichna, shvalberach, and we should listen, and we should do what Hashem wants, and not just